Hi everybody. Why did Minh return as CEO? Or because of his pursuit of Tu Diep? Did James know? Minh used to be a talented businessman, an ambitious CEO with trillion-dollar projects. But business life does not bring him satisfaction. For Minh, power and money are just burdens. He wants a free life. No strings attached, no pressure from numbers and contracts. So one day Minh left everything. He no longer appears in meetings, board of directors, also no longer interested in financial markets. Minh sold most of the shares in his company. Keep only a small part to maintain minimal control. Then he traveled everywhere, living the life of a street artist. In every city he passed through, Minh always brings his guitar with him, sit in crowded streets and play music. That's the life I always wanted, simple, light and uncomplicated. But then one day Minh met a girl. That day, Minh was sitting on a corner of the sidewalk at the rural market. His guitar blended with the sounds of the market. But it seems that no one cares about this wandering artist. People are busy with shopping. No one has time to stop and listen to music. Until a young girl stopped in front of him. She is a simple country girl, wearing a simple cloth shirt, carrying a basket full of vegetables on his shoulder. Long black hair, eyes bright as the morning sun. She listened to him play the piano with attentive eyes. When Minh stopped, she smiled brightly. "You play well." Minh was stunned. I met a lot of people on the road, but no one has ever looked at him with sincere eyes, like this girl. "Thank you." Minh smiled. "For the first time in months, I feel my heart flutter. That country girl is Tu Diep." After that meeting, Minh could not forget Tu Diep. He started to learn about her. Know that she is a poor but strong girl. Always try to get ahead in life. Gradually, Minh realized that if he wanted to have Tu Diep's heart, I can't be a street artist forever. He must become a man worthy of her. That's why Minh decided to return to business. He announced to the board that I will take over the company again. Surprise everyone. No one understands why someone once gave up everything, both today back. But Minh knows the reason clearly, because of Tu Diep. After returning to the CEO position, Minh started new projects. One of them is the bridge project in the suburbs, where he plans to invest a large sum of money to develop transport systems for rural areas. That day Minh went to the construction site to survey. When he got out of the car, in front of him was a tall man, stern face. "Who are you?" James asked in a calm but authoritative voice. Minh looked at James, not knowing this is the CEO of the company. "Are cooperating with me." He held out his hand to shake hands. "I am Minh, CEO of CCH Group. I came here to discuss the bridge project." James nodded and shook Minh's hand. His eyes were full of inquiry but not malice. They had no idea that they were rivals. James and Minh quickly got to the main topic. Minh proposed some changes in the construction plan to increase efficiency. James, with his experience, also give counter-arguments. Both are strong men, ambitious and not willing to yield to the other. After a tense argument, he groaned softly and curled his lips. "I see you are very interested in this project." Minh smiled. I answered cryptically because I had reasons to do so. They looked at each other. No one knows what is behind this debate. Another storm awaits. A few days later, Minh accidentally met Tu Diep again at the market. He was very happy and wanted to invite her to dinner. But then something unexpected happened. James also appeared. He walked to Tu Diep and gently placed his hand on her shoulder. "Have you chosen your clothes yet?" Minh was stunned. His eyes glanced over James, then turned to look at Tu Diep. "What are you to each other?" Tu Diep blinked. Before she could answer, James grabbed her hand. "She is my woman." Minh felt like there was a punch in the chest. He returned to business. Because she gave up her life of freedom for her. But it turned out she belonged to someone else. "I cannot accept this fact." He looked straight into her eyes, his heart filled with jealousy. "I never thought I would meet such a formidable opponent. A man is also strong, also ambitious, and above all, is the one who captured Tu Diep's heart. James is not just." I understand Minh's eyes, and know that this is not just a business competition, but also an emotional war. And this war has just begun. After meeting at the construction site, Minh knew one thing clearly. James is your rival, not only in business, but also in love. But Minh, not the type to use tricks to get what you want. If you want to have the heart of Tu Diep, you have to prove yourself more worthy than James. And the only way to do it is fair competition. On James's side, he also quickly realized Minh is not an ordinary businessman. Minh not only has strong financial potential, but also have courage, strategic vision, and especially a calm attitude to the point of fear. First time in life, James felt really threatened, not only about work, but also about love. The confrontation between them officially began. Bridge project is not just an infrastructure project, but also an important strategic move. Both James and Minh's corporations both want to win the biggest investment contract. James has the advantage of long-standing partnership experience and trust from local authorities. Minh has strong financial advantage, modern technology, and groundbreaking vision. Both continuously made competing proposals, causing the project review board to consider very carefully. Meetings become tense. Cutting-edge presentations. Every time James gives Ra a plan, I will have a reasonable response. And vice versa, every time Minh presents a plan, James will quickly find the weak point to deal with. No one gives in, no one gives in. If on the market, Minh and James fought a ruthless battle of wits, then in love, their war is even more silent and unpredictable. Even though he knew Tu Diep was James' lover. But Minh still did not give up. He did not use tricks or force her to choose. But he always appeared right when she needed him. When Tu Diep had difficulty selling at the market, Minh happened to be there and helped her transport vegetables. When the sudden rain wet all the leaves' clothes, Minh gave her his coat. When Tu Diep needs advice about work, Minh patiently listened and gave helpful suggestions. He doesn't say much, but that silent concern gradually made Tu Diep feel it. On the game side, you can't help but notice this. Every time I see Minh and Tu Diep talking, even just normal conversations, I feel uncomfortable. First time, James felt he might lose his woman. At first, Tu Diep did not pay much attention to Minh. To her, he was just a CEO she met by chance. But the more exposure, she found Minh to be an interesting man. You are not like James. Minh has a calmness that is hard to understand, a touch of worldliness mixed with experience. Once when the people were sitting and talking under a tree by the roadside, Minh shared about his past, about giving up everything to live a life of freedom, about the days wandering with a guitar on the street. So why did you come back to business? Tu Diep asked curiously. Minh was silent for a moment, then smiled softly. Because there is someone who makes me want to try harder. That answer made Tu Diep suddenly feel her heart tremble slightly. Is she the reason Minh came back? Tu Diep is not sure, but she knows one thing. Minh is not an ordinary man. And that's what got her thinking. James couldn't help but notice the change in Tu Diep. She still loves him. But there are moments. Her eyes when looking at Minh were no longer strange. It was the look of someone starting to get confused. James knew he couldn't stand still. I am not a weak man. But this is the first time he felt he had to really fight for his love. So James began to change. He spends more time with Tu Diep. Not only in work, but also in everyday moments. He took the initiative to take her out more often. Enjoy with her the rustic dishes she likes. He is not afraid to express his feelings in front of others, as a way to assert that she was his. Even though he didn't say it, the game secretly declared war in his heart. Men can compete fairly, but the winner will be me. About the market, Final Review Board chose both companies to cooperate together. This is something that AI does not want, but also the most reasonable thing. The bridge project needed James' experience and Minh's vision. What does that mean? James and Minh will have to continue working together, even though they don't want. Regarding love, Tu Diep has not made a choice yet. She loves James, but Minh is a special existence in her heart. A man who gave up everything. A man willing to come back for one reason only. James knew he had to fight, and so did Minh. And this war is not over yet. James and Minh are both formidable opponents. Not only in business, but also in love. Minh chooses fair competition without tricks. James realizes love cannot be taken lightly. You have to fight for it. Tu Diep stands between two talented men. Who will she choose? The war is not over. Tu Diep's feelings still have no clear response. And in the future, there may be a major event, forced her to make a final choice. Please leave a comment below.